Okay, welcome everyone. Can you hear me okay? Yeah, perfect. So let's just take a couple of minutes of meditation. Invite the spirit. We relax and open our hearts. To this moment. To the Holy Spirit's message for us. So today I felt guided to dedicate the meeting to our relationships and to looking at the ego's dynamics, the ego in our own minds, which is like the place where our personal relationships begin, is in the ego, in our minds, because we perceive somebody as separate from us. So when I was praying earlier, I was just looking at my relationships. And so I would like to bring that here to invite you to look at your relationships and to bring the ones to mind that you are in relationship with, that you are in close relationship with, and to look at your feeling, the feeling that is triggered when you think about those ones. Is it fear? Is it a feeling of warmth? Or is it some anger? Yeah, we can just take a moment to bring some or one relationship to mind or a few relationships to mind, and just take a moment to see what is there for us, what is the sense inside of us when we think about those relationships. So all relationships are in our own mind, and our mind is so powerful that we can heal them all within our own mind. And I want to bring in the combination of I need do nothing. I may in fact read it from the course, and let me invite there's one person trying to get in. Let me just let her in. So I'd like to read from I Need Do Nothing. And then, so a couple of more people will join us, and then after we've gone through this, we can talk, and I can open up for sharing and questions. So I'm going to read from I Need Do Nothing, and it's from chapter 18. And I may skip through some of it, so it doesn't feel too long. You still have too much faith in the body as a source of strength. What plans do you not make that don't involve its comfort or protection or enjoyment in some way? This makes the body an end and not a means in your interpretation. This always means that you still find sin attractive. So when we have the body as a goal, we find sin attractive. No one accepts atonement for himself who still accepts sin as his goal. You have thus not met your one responsibility. Atonement is not welcomed by those who prefer pain and distraction. So I'd say also you can equal the body with form. So if you have any form goal, it's because there is a belief in sin, and there is a belief that we deserve pain and distraction, or that we prefer that. And it's also implied that we have a future goal instead of the atonement, which is a present experience of our innocence. There's one thing that you have never done. You have not utterly forgotten the body. It has perhaps faded at times from your sight, but it has not yet completely disappeared. You're not asked to let this happen for more than an instant. Yet it is in this instant that the miracle of atonement happens. Afterwards, you will see the body again, but never quite the same. And every instant that you spend without awareness of it gives you a different view of it when you return. At no single instant does the body exist at all. It is always remembered or anticipated, but never experienced just now. Only its past and future make it real. Time controls it entirely, for sin is never wholly in the present. In any single instant, the attraction of guilt would be experienced as pain and nothing else, and would be avoided. So if we became wholly present, the attraction of guilt we would see that is pain, and it would be avoided. And I had a glimpse just before the meeting where I saw that in one relationship connection I have, where there was a slight bit of anger. And I just overlooked it in an instant. The anger had been there, lingering for a few hours. And then I saw this little anger. And I saw how easy it was to overlook, and I saw that I didn't want it. So if we become present, we realize it has no attraction. The guilt has no attraction, and therefore the anger in a relationship. It is impossible to accept the holy instant without reservation unless you, just for an instant, you're willing to see no past or future. You cannot prepare for it without placing it in the future. Release is given you the instant you desire it. Many have spent a lifetime in preparation and have indeed achieved their instance of success. This course does not attempt to teach more than they learn in time, but it does aim at saving time. You may be attempting to follow a very long road to the goal you've accepted. It's extremely difficult to reach atonement by fighting against sin. Enormous effort is expended in the attempt to make holy what is hated and despised. Nor is a lifetime of contemplation and long periods of meditation aimed at detachment from the body necessary. All such attempts will ultimately succeed because of their purpose, yet the means are tedious and very time-consuming, for all of them look to the future for release from a state of present unworthiness and inadequacy. So I find that quite restful, this message of it's impossible to accept the holy instant without reservation unless you, just for an instant, you're willing to see no past or future. Like, that is, it's even better than trying to plan for the future, to be invited to just be, to drop the future and find, just find the present. And that's why I talk so much about removing the obstacles to the awareness of love. Your way will be different. Your way will be different than this path of meditation. Not in purpose, but in means. A holy relationship is a means of saving time. One instant spent together with your brother restores the universe to both of you. So one instant spent together with your brother is an instant of full forgiveness of your brother, whether they are present physically around you or not. Like the moment you spend one instant fully with them in your mind, and you're willing to see who they are, will restore the universe to both of you. You are prepared. Now you need but to remember you need do nothing. It would be far more profitable now merely to concentrate on this than to consider what you should do. When peace comes at last, to those who wrestle with temptation and fight against the giving in to sin, when the light comes at last into the mind given to contemplation, or when the goal is finally achieved by anyone, it always comes with just one happy realization: I need do nothing. Let's just take that in. I need do nothing. The I that you are need do nothing and can't really do anything. It is just presence. Here is the ultimate release, which everyone will one day find in his own way at his own time. You don't need this time. Time has been saved for you because you and your brother are together. This is the special means this course is using to save you time. You're not making use of the course if you insist on using means which have served others well, neglecting what was made for you, the relationship aspect. Save time for me by only this one preparation and practice doing nothing else. I need do nothing is a statement of allegiance, a truly undivided loyalty. Believe it for just one instant and you will accomplish more than is given to a century of contemplation or of struggle against temptation. To do nothing is to rest and make a place within you where the activity of the body ceases to demand attention. Into this place, the Holy Spirit comes and there abides. He will remain when you forget, and the body's activities return to occupy your conscious mind. Yet there will always be this place of rest to which you can return. And you will be more aware of this quiet center of the storm than all its raging activity. This quiet center, in which you do nothing, will remain with you, giving you rest in the midst of every busy doing on which you are sent. For from this center will you be directed how to use the body sinlessly. It is this center from which the body is absent that will keep it so in your awareness of it. So let's close our eyes and just take this in. Let's just allow ourselves to rest in this quiet center. And I like how he brings in relationships into this, and also pointing out the long, tedious meditation practice. So for us who are drawn to A Course in Miracles, we do practice meditation in the present moment this way. We practice the holy instant. And full healing of relationships, which can involve communication, especially if you are together with somebody in a close relationship, in a family situation. The communication is imperative, because you couldn't live together. Like he says somewhere else in the Course, like you may be so far apart even though you live under the same roof. You know, it's just bodies together, but minds apart. So that is just a sign of there's a call for healing, or a call for change and healing. So I feel like he's challenging us or inviting us to a fuller, deeper communication in our relationships, where nothing is hidden. And to translate this to the relationship with Spirit, because we can see, like in our relationships with each other, it's reflected our relationship with God or with Spirit. We actually see God the way we see our brother. So God becomes distant and difficult if we see our brother or sister as a distant or difficult relationship. So I just feel I will just open up to your thoughts and questions and reflections. And if something is up for you that is difficult right now, I feel to start by inviting that. Because this is also a space for no private thoughts, where we can feel safe to share and join together. And we can, I'll wait and see if something is up for any one of you. And Patrick.
Hi.
Hi, Patrick.
I guess I'll just review my situation. It's been kind of similar for a while. I'm living with my wife of 38 years, and we are in the process of getting a divorce. We can't really afford to get two different places, so we live together, and we're in the process of selling the house, and it just seems to take its own time. But as far as what you were saying before, I can really relate to when I feel like I have to be, you know, that I have a goal that I have to make it happen myself. I mean, I still have goals, but it's just I guess the ego idea that I have to direct things and make sure that they happen. That's kind of anger based and causes me, to be resentful if things are not going according to my plan, which are, don't always coincide with my partner's plans. So, I mean, it's really a good lesson for me, an opportunity for me to live in the moment, and to not rely on myself to make things happen. I mean, I still have the goals and I still take steps, to make them happen. But yeah, there's lots of opportunities where I feel like a little anger comes up or something like that, and I have to confess that I'm still a regular meditator, and I don't have that many relationships really because just the way my life is. But I'm hoping that when I move, I'll go somewhere where I, have some more relationships. I mean, in in-person kind of relationship. But I don't really know for sure where I'm going to go. I might go to Mexico. I might go to Arizona. I think I might just travel around. And anyway, I'm looking forward to that.
Mm.
So I don't really feel like it's a problem, except that I'm I'm not where I want to be exactly, but I feel like I'm moving in the right direction. I don't know. Do you have any? Oh, my wife's making some comments in the background, but
Does she want to come on the camera and share them?
no, I think I said I didn't have any problems. She said, what about the roof? Meaning that we have this drama about whether or not we're going to get the roof fixed and if the insurance company is going to cover it. And there's all this, engineers are coming out to try to decide if it has hail damage. And it's just the world, it's just the illusion. It's not really, it's not something to get too, weirded out about.
No, thank you. Well, those things are too, it's like when you practice, I need do nothing, you hand over those things, you hand over the plans and the feeling and the wishes, to spirit, and then you do let them be orchestrated. And yeah, at the end of this section I read, there is you will rest in the experience of I need do nothing while you are on busy doings. Mm-hmm. So it's not like you should stop doing, but it's an invitation to rest in the presence of your true self.
And for me, that means not judging, because as long as I see things happening in a linear fashion, and if I don't like it, then I make a judgment and blame somebody for not making things happen the way I want it to happen, and that doesn't work so well.
Right, and that can be a call for communication. Still, believe in bodies and communication through words, so they can just be to sit down with that person and talk it through a bit deeper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Patrick.
Then. You want to say something? No, that's someone else talking.
Susan.
Jenny.
Hi, Susan. Nice to see you.
I'm sitting here and my heart's pounding, so I know I need to say something. So this concept of I need do nothing is a real challenge in my mind because I'm not sure how this plays out in form. So I've got a relationship with a younger son he's in his early 30s and he still deals with anger from his father and I separating when he was about 11 years old. And so his way of dealing with it is to project his anger onto me and kind of reach out. I mean, I know it's a call for love with him, but at the same time, it's hard for me to help him because he's blaming me, but he's wanting me to fix it, but he's not wanting me to fix it, and he's wanting me to leave him alone, but he's not wanting me to leave him alone. So there's this. So where we're at now is there's really no communication between us because I feel like I have to distance myself from his anger because I keep trying to figure out how to fix it. And I know that I can't fix it, but I don't want him to get the message that I don't care, that he feels like I don't care. So for me, it's just this constant struggle of, or maybe not a constant struggle, but it will come up for me, the guilt comes up for me. And then of course there's dealing with processing that and the forgiveness practice that I apply to that. But how this looks in form for me with him is just feels a dilemma. Mm-hmm. It's a situation for me because he's not wanting to do his own personal work. He's not wanting to own his responsibility for how he's chosen to respond to his feelings. And he continues to be a victim. Mm-hmm. So I just feel like I watch him go through this and I feel completely helpless. Mm-hmm. To help him move beyond it because he won't hear anything I have to offer him.
Mm-hmm. I'd say that it's only your own guilt that would make you have an issue. Mm-hmm. So if you have it, so you could even scan your mind, scan your heart to see, do you feel any guilt around separating when he was 11 from his dad or any other events? Because when you're guilt-free, you are detached. Even if he's angry, you will just feel love and feel at peace. But now you feel a dilemma, so there must be some guilt there for you. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that also clouds you it clouds the ability to feel the guidance and to, because if you fully hand him over and hand over your guilt or release your guilt, because everyone has their own path. I think that is always helpful to remember. I'm just going to see if somebody else is. No. It's a little noise, but forgot what I was saying, but it was a good question. Guidance. Yeah, everyone has their own path and their own. So even so, the victimization within those parents-child relationships that comes pretty strong, and it's an opportunity to face beliefs in victimization and the role that you're even a mother, and all the concern, like, so the more you can hand him over and free your mind and open your mind to how spirit wants to use you, you know, the more peace you will have, and he will know too where you're at, you know, where he has you, and he may find his own answers and guidance to what he wants to do.
Yeah, I found what you said about joining with him, or joining with somebody in the holy instant doesn't necessarily mean to be in physical form. It can just be in the mind, which it is in the mind. I found that helpful because I do that with him, and I do have moments of feeling at peace and feeling guilt-free and understanding that everything's playing out as it's meant to play out, and he has his journey that he's on. But yeah, I obviously still have guilt, and then that creates conflict for me in my mind. Mm-hmm. So this is a great subject for me to talk about.
Yeah. I always want to share, you know, how I practiced with my own son, that whenever I had that guilt in my mind, and he would reflect it. So I just had to work on that guilt and hand it over, and only be in communication with him from a space of peace and joy and inspiration. So if it came from my concern about his mind, you know, I needed to look in my concern. Mm-hmm. Let me see if there was something in what I read too, about being still, or not allowing our minds to even go out there.
Mm. Yeah. Reminders. Thank you, Jenny.
Yeah, thanks, Susan. Camille, I'm glad you changed your name on your...
I know. I had to figure out how to do it. It took me.
Good job.
I just want to say I'm really grateful that you brought up this idea, or reminded me of the idea that what I see out in the world is often if it's conflicting, if there's conflict for me and in the world, that often it stems from my guilt, a guilt that I'm holding in my mind. And that's not something that I have articulated and looked at a lot. I've looked at a lot about my attack thoughts and taking responsibility for those. And the ego has let me slide over the responsibility for guilt thoughts. And I can, just as you were talking, I saw so much of the past conflict that I've had that truly stemmed from guilt. Well, I have a granddaughter that we raised from 12. She's 20 now. And she was born, my son passed away just before she was born. She stayed with her mother for 12 years, and we supported them, but she was getting abused, blah, blah, blah. We got her and raised her from 12, and there was so much conflict between us, so much. And it's peace now. We have a totally peaceful, wonderful relationship. But I can look at those years, those 8 years where there was so much conflict, and I see so fully how that was a reflection of my guilt for problems with my son who was her father, my guilt for her being in these circumstances that I saw as abusive, and guilt, and how that manifested in my experience as conflict. And I'm just grateful to hear that today, because it has new awareness for me. So thank you for that. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. It's so cool when we see it. And it can have been, yeah, many years of conflict and guilt, and yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Peter. Hi.
Hi, Jenny. Hi, everybody.
How are you doing, Peter?
I'm okay. There's a lot going on, really a lot. I'm really wanted to ask you questions about communication, which is really about relationships. So I couldn't believe it when you came up with this topic. In my relationship with Yvonne, it was clear when we were spending time together that it was just getting too immersed. So we spoke about that together, and we went into prayer and guidance, and we started to meet more like you do in community. So she had just come back from Mallorca. So this is when we were actually together physically. So she was staying here in my home. But one of the things that came up was to cut out being discursive. I didn't really understand that to begin with. But we talk a lot when we're together. Sorry?
Well, I never heard that word. Discursive, is that like?
To discuss, okay. I think, to discuss.
Okay.
So we would discuss the spiritual, the course, and all that stuff. But somewhere in doing that, we weren't really in the present. And that's a big thing for me. This is a big thing that I do, is speaking sometimes. And within a day of cutting a lot of that out and just meeting, doing a lesson, some meditation, and then some expression session, I could really feel my stuff come up. And I haven't now actually seen her in person for about 3 and a bit weeks, but we meet online twice a day, and we do the lesson and there's expression session. And it's been a source of tremendous stuff coming up for me, cutting that out, that discussing. So I try and cut that out with everybody, and doesn't always work all the time, but a lot of stuff has come up. And in terms of that relationship with Yvonne, at times it's made me go, well, I'm not sure if I love her. I mean, it's just so unfamiliar, the way I'm speaking with her, that it doesn't have what I thought was love before, this connection through talking. And I can see that actually it's more authentic, I think. And I have questions about it still, about other ways of speaking together. I know it's not, everything is an expression session, but I can, you know, it is about guidance. I'm interested. I mean, you were in a marriage for 7 years, so presumably that went through progressions. So that was, I have a question about that, you know, and what does communicating look like? Not just at the end, but how does one evolve it? The other thing is that last time we spoke was 2 weeks ago here on the Zoom. I was in this abandonment. That's been very strong for me, but also the injustice stuff's very strong. Controls coming up, a lot of deep stuff's coming up, and seeing projection on a group where we were looking for a new member, and I said no to it because I felt guided. Normally everything's done in consensus, and it's not being done, and people are going ahead inviting this person. All my stuff came up around injustice, not being considered. All my family stuff's been coming up as well. A lot of early family stuff has been coming up, and a lot of rage. I can see the hatred. Good stuff. So I just wanted to say that because it's so connected with all this communication and relationships. And there's whole stuff in here about trust. I can still see that I'm attached to the form, but I can feel that I'm really wanting to open more and more now to love and to God, and there's a fear and there's a mistrust, and so I can see that's happening. I can feel it's in process, which is why all the darkness is coming up. You know, I can feel that my intention, my desire for that is coming stronger. I'm opening, I'm wanting that more. So I don't know if you could speak to in any of all of that.
Thank you. So there is fear and mistrust in opening up more to God? Or where is the fear and mistrust?
It's a fear. I have a fear being in groups sometimes, because I fear if I speak my truth, if I feel like it's guided, sometimes I'm going to be reactive, and I'm frightened of my own shadow. I'm frightened of my darkness. I'm frightened of my rage, hatred, but I increasingly feel it's like I'm going to do it anyway. And that's good. I feel there's an increasing confidence that hopefully I can hold the anger and the hatred. I can name it and I can be with it, but I do have a fear about it. So there lies a mistrust that there's that part of me still instinctively wants to go, I'm going to do it rather than rest in God. I can see that. That each time I go to a deeper bit of of darkness emerging, I immediately want to go, I've got to sort this. And I'm starting to get that, no, all I have to do is rest in God and see with the Holy Spirit, and in that way trusting. But I'm there's a part of me is getting increasingly agitated, and my mind's very busy, and there's a lot of defensive talk and rehearsing in my mind, a lot of explaining, as if I'm explaining to all these people why I'm not more worthy or whatever. It's a bit mad, but I can see it's just emerging, and it's been really bottled up, and I can see it's, it is connected to my early life as well. I think the real grievances that have been there in family, and in a real sense of loss and deprivation earlier in life, so yeah.
Yeah, I hear a lot of it is from that. And
yeah, most of it, yeah.
So yeah. So I think the healing of the rage, allowing it up, and the rage that comes out, it's situations and the people, current relationships and the group. And the only important thing is that there is an invitation to express it. Otherwise, I think it's better you book a counseling call with me or somebody where you can express, or go out in the forest and do it with the Holy Spirit. But if the mighty companions are mighty companions and are available and ready for the expression, great, or if it is a collaboration relationship where you have held back from sharing your thoughts, then I think that is also a helpful practice to express thoughts where you have been holding back and suppressed stuff. So depends a little bit on the nature of the rage. If you're very aware that it's like deep childhood stuff, it's great that comes up, and you may even be helped by reading shadow figures from the past, the section in the course.
Okay. Yeah.
And the fear of loss, or the holding on so hard onto something out of fear of loss, or like an old abandonment issue, like just be gentle with yourself in that area, I often, or I know before I've seen, and I see it again for you, this picture of God, or God and the little child, and the child is holding on to like a small little teddy bear, and God has this big teddy bear behind his back. It's like inviting, give it to me, give the relationships to me, and I have a greater gift for you. It doesn't mean necessarily giving them up, but it means joining with Spirit, with God. Handing over in your awareness, in your mind.
I mean, that speaks to me deeply. I can feel the resistance to hand it over. It's a little down, but I can see it. I think you spoke about it last time as well, and I mean, there is a terror of handing it over, but I am getting better at holding the intensity, and that's enabled me to, I don't know if that's me doing it again, but it just, yeah, I can feel I can feel however much I want to open to the love of God and the peace of God, there's a part of me that has just got my heels pushed into the ground. Like
That's why I used the word gentleness.
That's why?
I used the word gentleness.
Yes,
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
I don't see it, but I know it to be true that in this place I am attacking myself outrageously. Yeah, being a coward and I've done that all my life. Is like that was very much the woundedness of the child in me.
Because
I had to
God
grow up.
or Spirit is just there, this gentle love and presence that wants to join with you fully. That's all it is. That's what it asks of you, for you.
It's nice when you say it. It feels beautiful. I mean, there are tears in there. There are real tears, deep tears of a child, really. I feel it's coming. It's like a bit of a dam wants to break open. So it's not. I can feel it's not quite there, but I really felt the gentleness, and I can feel it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit submerged. So, but thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. I trust that your process and the right situation and time for it all to,
Thank you.
comes in.
And I really felt it when you spoke, when it came through you. Then I got it. I get it. So if you don't mind just coming to live here for a while, that would be helpful. But yeah, just tell me that every day. So it's beautiful. Thank you. Yeah.
I'll post the video here after so you can.
Okay. 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 Thank you.
Thank you, Peter.
Thanks, Jen.
Love you.
Oh.
Yeah, so see if there was any more hands. Otherwise, one more hand. Hi, Solveig.
Hi. I'm not quite sure what I want to say, but I had like a feeling that the communication and the relationship was a really good point. And also what we had in our last talk, counseling talk. And it's really like really small steps going out of something that I've been doing, some way of seeing things and seeing other people and seeing what I do myself, you know, such and not even knowing that I was doing it and I was seeing it that way. And I just, yeah, I think maybe what I'd like to share is that after a call with a friend yesterday, I suddenly got that that everything I go into, even if it's something from the start, I have like a spark and it's a joy and feel guided, it ends up in hard work. And then I had like, okay, today is my day off from work. And I had like, I really want to go like, if I have an inspiration, just go for it, you know, don't start thinking. And I have like my partner living here, and you know, I suddenly find that normally I would like be angry with him if he decides what we are going to do, but in the same time I suddenly could see that I don't want to decide, so I let everybody else decide, and then I can be angry with him. That's really a good one. And
common in special relationship.
Yes.
The
So
leader
I
or the
actually,
follower. Yeah.
yeah.
And
So I actually expressed myself and communicated and said, I want to try this. I don't know how, but I want to try to just go for an inspiration. Don't start to think how, just inspiration, go for it. And if it's going to work out or not, I don't care. And I really, all day I've been like this. And he certainly had like, maybe we could go this. And I just looked at him and said, remember, I don't know, because I don't want to make any plans. And he just laughed and said, okay. And then we ended up doing something together and doing another thing. He was like, do you want to do that? No, he didn't. Okay, then I shall do it. You know, normally I shall just, I suddenly realized I normally should just, okay, if you don't want, maybe it's not the right thing, and, you know, have all that down. So you don't want, fine, I'll do it. Mm-hmm. And all the
spontaneity.
Being spontaneous. And all the, yeah, and feeling like getting some joy back in small things, you know. I didn't do a lot today, but all the small things and all the, yeah, it was just, and another thing I've also found out yesterday, that I'm really scared to share the joy. So now I'm doing it.
Wow.
So,
thank you.
Thank you,
Solveig.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Yeah. I hear the steps of healing that's happening. Yeah, really lovely. And you're onto that. Yeah, like the course says, you hate the one that takes the leader role when you want it, and sometimes you want to be the follower and want, you know, others to lead. So it's this flip-flopping, and that's the special relationship. So it sounds very good to become more and more aware of that.
Yeah.
To be very spontaneous and allowing, and see where you go into all those second guessing and doubts.
Yeah, and all, you know, I had like for a while a lot of irritation on my partner, you know, in small things, and haven't been today, you know. It's just like so much clear. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I'll let that be the last sharing, and we could do like a small little or not small, but a great exercise together to end with. Let's just think about a relationship again, a person that you have a grievance with or a problem with, or something with that is calling for some healing. So just allow that person to come to your mind, and we'll just go within and we hold this person and we lift this person up in the light. Like imagine a light, or feel the light of spirit. And you lift this person up into this light, the way you see him or her, and your emotions that come with this relationship. We lift it up to Spirit's light. And if you're very visual, you may even see the person disappear into the light. And you feel like you're just leaving this person in this light. That's where it belongs, he or she. And you may feel your own mind join in that light. Amen. And I will send this exercise with you to do this whenever you feel bothered by anybody or anything. And if anybody feels inspired to donate to my PayPal, it's spiritlightmystic@gmail.com is my PayPal. And on my website, jennydonner.net, I think it's on the contact page, there is a link you can click. And it's really no requirement or anything. It's only from inspiration. And thank you all who have been donating to it's beautiful support. Yeah. Love you. Thank you. So we're on the 11th, I have the next meeting together with Barrett. So I hope to see you then. Bye-bye.